My name is Sue Williams. Running several large supermarkets as a lifelong commitment phobe. Congratulations. You're pregnant. Hearing those words, I couldn't stop grinning from ear to ear. After all this effort, I'd finally succeeded. Tucking the lab results safely away, I practically skipped home. I've always believed men are unreliable creatures. Yet I refused to face life's journey completely alone. That's why I decided to create my own legacy, a child who'd carry my bloodline. Imaginary scenes flashed through my mind, showing my baby sunsets over the Grand Canyon, building sandcastles on Malibu beaches, sharing midnight ice cream sundaes. The mere thought of this tiny life growing inside me made my steps lighter. The moment I opened the door, aromas of garlic butter, shrimp and herb roasted chicken assaulted my senses. Jason might be blind, but his hearing was preternaturally sharp. His head snapped toward the entryway, fingers already tracing the wall as he navigated toward me. Sue, you're back. His voice held that quiet intensity I'd grown accustomed to. I sidestepped his reaching arms, suddenly hyper-aware of the precious cargo in my womb. I've been running around all day, need to shower first. Of course. His retreating hand brushed against the foyer table as I passed the dining area. The feast spread across the walnut surface gave me pause: lobster bisque, truffle mashed potatoes, even my favorite matcha tiramisu from that exclusive bakery downtown. You ordered all this? I asked, eyebrow raised. Yes. Jason had been my rainy night discovery. Everyone says not to pick up stray men, but this one looked like he'd stepped out of a Renaissance painting. I still remember finding him in that grimy alleyway behind Whole Foods. His designer shirt torn and muddy, blood mixing with rainwater. Those sightless eyes had stared through me when I pulled out my phone to call 911. Please, his cold fingers clamped around my wrist with desperate strength. No authorities. I'll make it worth your while. Just help me. As someone who'd built an empire negotiating with suppliers, I rarely fell for sob stories. But his shattered beauty triggered my fatal weakness, that insatiable maternal instinct toward damaged pretty things. Against all logic, I brought home this human stray. His physical wounds healed within weeks. The blindness stayed. Those first months were brutal. Jason would huddle in my guest bedroom's walk-in closet for days, refusing food or conversation. I finally snapped during week 3 of his depressive episode after finding untouched meals rotting beside him. You want to die? Go jump before a Tesla on Sunset Boulevard. Don't stink up my $3 million condo. I'd yelled, yanking him upright by his Armani collar. The bastards who did this are probably laughing their asses off while you play the victim. Is this how you honor your family? Your ancestors who survived the damn Mayflower? Something clicked that day. Next morning, he asked for a braille display and started learning JAWS screen reader software. I came home to find him mapping the apartment through echolocation clicks, forehead bruised from colliding with my marble breakfast bar. The real shock came when I caught him reading my stock portfolios through text-to-speech software. Those unseeing eyes somehow gleaming with predatory focus. Blindness clearly hadn't dulled his business instincts. Jason stared blankly, his expression calm. I've memorized every letter and symbol on the keyboard. Plus there's voice command for other needs. Within a month, he'd adapted remarkably to his surroundings, functioning seamlessly in my apartment, doing chores, ordering takeout. Honestly, the man's learning ability was terrifying. Observing Jason's meticulous habits, I became increasingly convinced he'd make an exceptional sperm donor. First, his looks were undeniable, those striking features being the original reason I'd brought him home. Second, he maintained impeccable habits, no smoking or drinking, channeling his darkest moments into silent contemplation. His disciplined morning workouts on my dust-covered treadmill, maximizing its 2-year dormant potential, proved even blindness couldn't curb his fitness routine. Most crucially, his sharp intellect shone through casual work-related discussions, his insights consistently offering viable solutions. Though Jason's background remained mysterious, his refined demeanor suggested elite upbringing. Why such polished perfection found itself in crisis didn't matter. What mattered was his potential to give me the child I desperately wanted, a child wholly mine. Thus began my surrogacy campaign. I tempered my fiery temperament into calculated gentleness, exploiting his blindness for accidental physical contact. Initially, Jason blushed at mere handbrushes, his innocence almost endearing. Then came that fateful night of tangled sheets, unraveling all restraint. Sometimes I wondered, was this calculated seduction? Or had genuine affection crept in? Our shared moments held unexpected warmth. But now, with my pregnancy confirmed, our arrangement must end. Post-dinner, Jason expertly loaded the dishwasher before fumbling with fruit preparation. His spatial mastery of my apartment after 8 months rivaled my own. Before him, takeout containers littered my workaholic existence. He'd brought unexpected domesticity. Watching him meticulously arrange washed grapes, I quipped, "Why bother plating takeout? More dishes to clean. Life needs ceremony and warmth." He countered, settling beside me. His fingers found my face unerringly, placing a cherry at my lips. As I bit into the juicy sweetness, his mouth claimed mine, the tart fruit mingling with deepening kisses. "Sweet?" he murmured against my mouth. "Why, yes." Emboldened, Jason fed me another cherry with his lips. When his grip tightened and breathing quickened, panic surged. I couldn't risk harming the baby. Pushing him away, I stammered, "I can't tonight. Sue." His sightless eyes clouded with hurt. "Don't you want me anymore?" "Not that. I'm just unwell." The living room radio hummed as Jason retreated into stoic silence. I studied this enigmatic man, once so reserved that mere touches flustered him, now transformed into relentless passion. Men truly were fickle creatures. But with conception achieved, his purpose was served. I straightened my crumpled clothes, my mind racing with ways to shake off Jason. I knew nothing about his past or family. Abandoning a blind man felt cruel. But Sue had always prioritized her goals over fleeting kindness. My hand drifted to my still, flat stomach. This had to end. "Jason." "My eyes feel strange," I said. "How?" "I saw hazy light this morning. It faded." "But, could this mean your sight's returning?" "Perhaps." This was my chance. "Let's get you checked tomorrow." Jason squeezed my hand. "If I regain vision? I want my first sight to be you, Sue." His fingers traced my face with aching tenderness, forehead, nose, lips, jaw. Though his eyes remained clouded, I swore I saw devotion in them. I pinched my thigh. "Don't fall for pretty packaging, Sue. You got what you wanted." The next morning's tests confirmed pre-surgery light perception. A simple procedure could restore his sight. Relief flooded me. This solved everything. A functional man wouldn't need my pity. "Darling, you'll see me when you wake," I chirped. "Sue," he crushed me in an embrace, his trembling excitement clashing with my dread. "I've imagined you 1,000 times." I booked his surgery, playing doting girlfriend those final days. Sweet nothings flowed easily. What harm in last kindnesses? When the youre lights blinked red, I whispered goodbye. "Thank you for the child, Jason. But we're done." My flight to Wellness Island departed that afternoon. En route, I emailed him earnest well wishes and a closure payment before blocking every contact. Mother was right, ruthless girls sleep better. The tropical sanctuary offered 5-star prenatal care, nutritionists, weekly scans, private yoga instructors. Morning sickness plagued me, but ocean vistas and butler service eased the struggle. 3 months later, lounging poolside with my first ultrasound photo, I planned my mainland return, until my assistant's call shattered the peace. "Rent increase? Why now?" My grip tightened on the cocktail glass. After years of stable partnership, this sudden demand reeked of betrayal. My assistant sighed helplessly. "Sue, I heard their corporate headquarters got a new CEO. This guy moves fast and plays dirty. The moment he took over, he purged all the old guard and reassigned veterans left and right. Everyone at Wilson Family Enterprises is walking on eggshells now. New bosses always make big moves. But while his first waves targeted internal affairs, who knew his final strike would hit us? What about President Johnson we usually deal with? We should send gifts. Cash, spare no expenses during times like this. I tried, the assistant's voice quivered. The same President Johnson who'd flash 8 teeth whenever he saw me now turns tail and runs. I reassured her while packing. Don't panic. I'm cutting my maternity leave short and returning to Coastal City tomorrow. My fortune might be substantial, but I'd never neglect income opportunities. The humid coastal air assaulted me the moment I disembarked. 3 sneezes racked my body as sticky discomfort crawled over my skin, an eerie sensation of being watched. Sue, are you okay? Jet lag. Update me on the situation. My chain of supermarkets leased properties from Wilson Family Enterprises. Their sudden rent hike meant bleeding millions extra annually. All my contacts stonewalled me. We'd collaborated smoothly for years, why the hostility? Had I offended someone? But Sue never backed down from challenges. Since this new Wilson CEO caused the problem, I'd confront him directly. No retreat before battle. At 8:15 a.m. sharp, I stood in Wilson Tower's marble lobby. The receptionist's polished refusal didn't surprise me, my 3rd rejection this week. I was devising alternative entry methods when a pack of suited executives marched through the revolving doors. My breath hitched. Leading them was the very same helpless blind man I'd sheltered months ago. He swept past without glancing my way, understandable since he'd never seen my real face. Yet my pulse raced inexplicably. After they vanished into elevators, I casually asked the receptionist, "Who was the man in front?" "That's Mr. Wilson himself, the CEO you wanted to see." My jaw dropped. The universe really enjoyed cruel jokes. I should have extorted him instead of giving him money. As I fumed, President Johnson waddled through the lobby. Time to focus. He might evade my assistant, but not me, not after 5 years of fattening his pockets with kickbacks. The sweaty executive grimaced. "Ms. Williams. I'm powerless here." He gestured upward nervously. "The new boss is cutthroat, I'm barely keeping my job. I'll negotiate with him directly. Take me up." After much hemming and hawing, Johnson led me to the executive floor. There stood Jason holding court, my former houseguest now radiating icy authority. Johnson whispered warnings. The young master took over during old Mr. Wilson's illness. Studied abroad, they say. But beware, he's made seasoned managers cry. I smirked. Studied abroad? What exquisite acting. The same man who'd cowered in my guest room now played corporate titan. This would be interesting. Here he comes. Johnson suddenly stood at attention, silently backing away while murmuring, "Sue, since we've worked together this far, I'll see you to here. Please, take care." With that, he actually started waddling away on his short legs. Men are so unreliable. When it matters, you can only count on yourself. Flashing a perfect 8-tooth smile, I strode forward. "Jason. I'm Sue from Happy Home Supermarket." Excuse me. Ma'am." The male assistant blocked me with his broad frame. "Mr. Wilson doesn't accept unscheduled meetings. Just 2 minutes." I pressed forward desperately, but the assistant stood firm like a human barricade. In the scuffle, I stumbled against a decorative vase, clutching my stomach protectively as I started falling. I felt strong arms suddenly yank me upright. A warm hand steadied my waist. Only when I regained footing did I hear the soft sigh above me. Had he recognized me earlier? Feeling his grip loosen, I seized his forearm. "Jason. Just 2 minutes." His female secretary glared at where my hand touched his sleeve. "Mr. Wilson," she interjected sweetly. "Mr. Fu from Xingxing is waiting." "I can wait too," I blurted. "Whenever you're available?" Jason finally looked directly at me, his stormy eyes swirling with complex emotions, reproach, anger, frustration, and something hotter beneath. My pulse raced under his scrutiny, but I held his gaze stubbornly. After endless seconds, he sighed. "Mr. Wang, He told the stunned assistant. Have this lady wait in my private lounge. The lounge offered every comfort, refreshments, plush seating. But the bowl of ripe cherries made my chest tighten, resurrecting carefully buried memories. Dozing off proved inevitable. I awoke to find myself cradled against a firm chest, calloused hands gently caressing my abdomen. Stop that. I jerked awake. You've played plenty of tricks yourself. Came the familiar rumble. So you did recognize me. I sneered. Jason? How many identities do you have? Happy Homes Sue. Supermarket cashier Sue. You're the versatile one. He kept his arm around my waist. You raised the rent deliberately. To force me here? Yes. How shameless. Would you have come otherwise? His grip tightened. Were you planning to keep hiding forever? That's exactly what I'm planning. Jason gently touched my belly. His voice icy. You swore I'd see you when I woke from surgery. Where were you? Sue. You're carrying my child yet deliberately abandoned me. Planning to cut the father out and keep the child? Exactly. I nodded firmly. This is my baby. It has nothing to do with you. How dare you say that? It's my child too. Yours? All you contributed was some effort and a sperm cell. I retorted angrily. Besides, didn't you enjoy the baby-making process? I'm the one carrying this life for 9 months. Our blood flows through these veins. This child will be flesh of my flesh. Don't you dare claim parenthood now. My defiance ignited Jason's temper. His handsome features twisted comically, eyes no longer eyes. Nose no longer nose. Sue. How could you be so heartless? Was your kindness all just a scheme to get pregnant? Those tender moments, the midnight soups, the way you'd massage my headaches, all just calculated moves? Precisely. I stated coldly. The child was my only objective from the start. You. Sighing. I redirected, Jason. I came to discuss lease negotiations. Not personal matters. Your unprofessionalism during business hours is unacceptable. Jason barked out a humorless laugh. Fine. Let's talk business then. The Wilson family hasn't raised Happy Mart's rent in 5 years despite your expansion. With rising operational costs and Joyful Grocers offering 30% more for that retail space. Continuing your lease makes no financial sense. Business is business. Sue. Logic aside. His words stung. Forcing a smile. I countered, Joyful Grocers' product quality can't match ours. Their foot traffic potential is limited. Evicting us would destabilize the entire shopping district's ecosystem. Disagree. Jason's gaze turned mercenary. Our reports show Wilson properties are actually driving your customer traffic. Jason, the office door swung open. His secretary frowned upon seeing me before plastering on a saccharine smile. Jason. Mr. Chen is here. Noticing her sudden informality. I rolled my eyes. As if I cared about their whatever ship. Name your price to keep our lease unchanged. Jason leaned closer. Eyes darkening. Dinner tonight. Then we'll talk. He strode out with the secretary. Leaving me fuming at his retreating back. Screw this. If one door closes, I'll kick down another. Abandoning the rent battle. I began drafting plans to transition Happy Mart online. Better to lease a logistics hub than overpriced storefronts. My empty stomach growled as twilight fell. Rubbing my belly. I cooed, hungry. Little one? Mommy's taking us for steak. I nearly performed a backflip when opening my apartment door. What the hell? Jason? Lurking like some stray puppy. The red-eyed man stood trembling in my doorway. Looking utterly wrecked. Sue, do you really not want to see me? I stared at the man before me. His eyes filled with anguish. Weren't you the one insisting we keep this strictly business? I've thought it through, if necessary. We'll relocate. Closing the family supermarket isn't ideal. But my current earnings are enough to support myself and raise a child comfortably. Jason's gaze burned into me. Must you be so cold? You know perfectly well if you'd just show some softness. I'd give you anything. Why should I compromise? Setting aside the pregnancy. I've done nothing wrong in our business dealings. You're the one creating obstacles. He sighed, weariness lining his voice. Let's stop fighting. Sue. Can't we start over? I studied this supposedly ruthless CEO of Wilson Enterprises, the cutthroat executive from Business Legends, now resembling nothing so much as an abandoned golden retriever. Collecting myself, I stated calmly, Jason. I'm a commitment phobe. I used you to conceive. But I also saved your life that night. We're even. As for the supermarket lease, business is business. I'll negotiate to maintain current rates. But if Wilson Enterprises insists on raising rent, we'll find new locations. It's late, you should go. My hand moved to close the door. Jason's palm shot out to block it, his voice trembling with emotion. This isn't fair. Sue. You don't get to unilaterally declare us even. We're nowhere near finished. He stormed off, his broad shoulders hunched in defeat. An unexpected ache bloomed in my chest. He'd been my first love. Those stolen months of passion had been blissful. But deception-tinged happiness couldn't make me trust any man, let alone consider marriage. Every woman in my family tree served as cautionary tales. My stunning mother had been love-blinded into marrying my insecure father. His initial adoration curdled into resentment of her beauty, escalating from verbal abuse to that fateful slap when she wore red satin. Mom became my hero that day. Knowing abuse never stops at once. She fought for divorce despite relatives' censure. Couples fight then reconcile. My aunts clucked. Divorced women lose value. Think of your daughter. Hypocrites all. Grandma slaved for Grandpa who died pining for his college sweetheart. Aunt Lee endured her cheating husband's love child. Aunt Wang battled her monster-in-law while her mama's boy husband hid. These women clung to miserable marriages, then judged Mom's courage. She took me to Shanghai, transforming savings into a thriving grocery then boutique empire. We traveled museums and concert halls in matching dresses, feasting on life's joys. Women need no men to flourish. She'd smile. My best friend and role model. 2 years ago, cancer stole her. True to form, she demanded full glamour for her final bow. My greatest masterpiece was you, she whispered, our fingers entwined. Now alone, I honor her legacy, building my own empire while protecting my child from the Wilson storm brewing on my doorstep. Let Jason rage. I've inherited titanium resilience from generations of women who endured far worse. Our story's just beginning. Due to my own experiences, I believe men can't be relied on. But I desperately want a child, preferably a daughter. I'd dress her in pretty clothes, show her the world's wonders, and let her savor life's beauty. She'd be my anchor, my connection to this world. A child who'd belong solely to me. Half asleep, my phone's shrill ringtone jolted me awake. My assistant squealed through the receiver. Sue, the Wilson family wants to renew our contract. After their price hike? Seriously? They're keeping the original terms. Her voice pierced my eardrum with excitement. You need to sign it personally, hurry. Got it. I hung up calmly, lingering in bed while thinking at least someone here still has a conscience. This trip to Wilson Enterprises went suspiciously smooth. The moment I entered the lobby, Jason's glamorous secretary approached. Miss Williams? This way. She ushered me into the CEO's private elevator. Her cloying perfume made the enclosed space unbearable. Such luck you've had, she remarked airily. Jason maintained the contract terms just because you helped him once. Though honestly, he should be focusing on consolidating power now, not getting sentimental over minor favors. But that's Jason, always playing the noble martyr. Even toward that backstabbing brother of his. I stared blankly as she monologued, her smirk widening at my confusion. Do you even know what Jason's been through? No. Then why, if I cared? I cut her off, tilting my chin up. I'd ask him myself. And I'm certain he'd love to share his entire life story with me. The elevator dinged. I strode out, grateful to escape the perfume assault. Jason waited in the conference room, sliding a document across the table. Review this. My eyes bulged as I scanned the terms. You're lowering rates? This is too generous. His eyelid twitched at my exaggerated gratitude. You're raising a child alone. As the father, I can't let the mother struggle. I patted my flat stomach sweetly. While I'm touched you're volunteering for daddy duties. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But hey, discounts are always welcome. My future kid says thanks. You're so welcome, he ground out. After triple-checking the contract, I signed with flourish. Crisis miraculously averted. Pleasure doing business. Mr. Wilson. I beamed, handing over the documents. He trapped my hand in his. Dinner. Now. But, we gave you massive concessions. Can't spare one meal? Of course. I backpedaled. I was just deciding where to take such an esteemed. His smirk didn't reach his eyes. How considerate. The restaurant screamed overpriced. Jason ordered without glancing at the menu. My wallet already mourned its impending doom. When the fish soup arrived, my stomach rebelled. Gagged, Jason steadied me. Barking at the waiter, remove this. I thought you loved their seafood. Since when? I rasped. You used to order their takeout weekly. Takeout? My goodness. No wonder the takeout Jason ordered tasted so amazing, it was priced at that level. I sighed, you really are a young master. Can't let the young mistress suffer. Stop trying to take advantage. Jason exhaled heavily. Sue. My feelings for you are genuine. You're confusing gratitude from being saved with love. Jason's gaze burned into me. Sue Williams. Do you think a nearly 30-year-old man can't distinguish between gratitude and affection? Absolutely. My shamelessness left Jason speechless. Rubbing his temples, he pleaded, Sue. Give me a fair chance. You can't storm into my heart then leave whenever you please. You can't condemn our marriage because of your parents' failed relationship. I slammed my chopsticks down. You investigated me. My bride vanished without explanation. Shouldn't I worry? I didn't even know your full name. After the surgery, you disappeared, just an email and breakup money. Do you know how furious I was? If not for hospital surveillance footage, I'd never have seen your face. When I learned you were in Chiang.To, I nearly flew to you immediately. But between corporate crises and assassination attempts from my brother, I couldn't risk endangering you. Yet you gave me 3 months of silence. Then declared eternal separation. Sue, I have pride too. But for you, I swallowed it. Those buildings? Yours if you'd just be fair. I sipped ham and matsutake soup. Mom always said men's sweet words are poison. She learned the hard way. Jason never imagined his love life would be sabotaged by a mother-in-law. Switching tactics from threats to bribes? Do you really think so low of me? Not entirely. I wiped my lips. I simply don't trust men. We talked for hours that day, my family. His past struggles. I considered us unresolved. But he saw hope. Whatever. He's still the client. Now the man's getting bold. Allowing prenatal checkups made him claim fatherhood rights. Even shamelessly moving across the hall. Sue, I respect your boundaries about parenthood. But shouldn't I care for my child's mother? His war strategy shifted from coercion to relentless pampering, gourmet meals delivered thrice daily. Memorizing pregnancy guidelines better than me. Obsessing over checkup reminders. Offering massages, suspicious? Absolutely. But his skilled hands soothed my aching back. Things got heated during one massage session. Afterward, he produced a pigeon egg-sized diamond ring. Staring at that rock, I suddenly understood Wang Jiaqi's dilemma. Can I keep the ring without saying yes? Listen to yourself. Fine. I can afford my own diamonds anyway. Jason simply slid the ring onto my finger. Keep it. I'll propose again later. With bigger diamonds? Would that work? Not necessarily. The man sighed. Utterly defeated. Jason let out a long sigh. All right. Let's sleep. Guess I'm doomed to love such a heartless woman. I pouted, nestling into his arms. I just don't believe in marriage. Don't you believe in me either? I stayed silent. People change. I'd seen my father worship my mother. then raise his hand against her. I'd witnessed too many women harmed in the name of love. Why risk marriage when I'm perfectly capable on my own? Relax. I teased. Haven't you heard of the new trend? Co-parenting without marriage licenses. We'd both be on the birth certificate. Our child could inherit from both families. Best part? I grinned. If you ever hit me, it'd be assault, not domestic violence. Easier to sue. Jason's face darkened. I'd never hurt you. And what crimes would I commit? Who knows? I yawned dramatically. Future's unpredictable. Plus, I added, no fighting over last names. Our kid would obviously be Williams like me. I took my mom's surname too. Jason shrugged. Name doesn't matter. Perfect. We'll name our baby Blessing Williams. Nickname Little Blessing. Little Blessing, Jason tightened his embrace. Sue. I know you're scared. I'll prove myself worthy through actions, not paperwork. 4 years later, kindergarten enrollment day arrived. My hoped-for daughter turned out to be a boy. But Jason had wept joyful tears holding our newborn. We still hadn't signed any papers. Yet Jason fulfilled every role, devoted partner and hands-on father. Daddy. Blessing stretched chubby arms as Jason arrived in full suit. Why the formal wear? I chuckled. First family photo. He adjusted his tie. Our son's school picture deserves respect. Jason whispered to our son, who immediately chirped, Daddy says, when will you marry him? I burst out laughing. You've got parents like everyone else. Tactical error. Jason groaned, hoisting Blessing onto his shoulders. The boy giggled. Lollipop sticky fingers in Jason's hair. Operation Proposal continues. Jason declared, squeezing my hand. Our son's laughter echoed through the park as Jason pretended to be a galloping horse. Somewhere between the candy bribes and playground politics. Our unorthodox family kept writing its own rules, no license required. Jason lifted Sue onto his shoulders, carefully steadying her. I watched the father-daughter pair bonding. The tight knot in my chest already loosening. Should I really get married? Come here, babe. He called out. I smiled at them faintly. Maybe later. We'll see.